Okay, good morning, everybody. So let's get started on lab 6. We need to draw these drawings with bill of materials. So what's new in this lab? One thing is how to make custom components. Not only custom components, but also how to make them smart electrically. What's a smart component? Electrically smart components are the ones that when you delete them properly, wires will join if they are already placed in a wire. And if you place them in a wire, the wire will break automatically. That's a smart component. If it's not a smart component, it will not do that. That's why in AutoCAD Electrical, avoid using the delete key as much as possible and use electrical commands. Right click and delete component instead of choose the component and delete. Because when you do that, wires will not rejoin. So it's not smart. When you go right click delete, they will rejoin. So now let's get started with basics, because in the beginning you need to do cover page, right? Let's do it with AutoCAD as well. And then we start a project, and then we add these drawings. One more thing I want you to also be able to do is how to do a template. So remember now, when we add these drawings like we did in Lab 5, every time we have to delete layout 2 and then turn off the navicube. Let's do it once and then have your own template that you use for subsequent drawings. So you do it only once, not repeatedly. So first of all, let's go to AutoCAD. And as usual, make sure the project manager is active. Close any projects you're not using. And of course, you cannot do a new project even if you right click. That doesn't happen unless you have one drawing open. This is the way Autodesk chose to do it for some reason which is not clear, at least not to me. So anyway, now we have new project is active. So we'll say new project, give it a name, Lab 6 practice for you. So I'm going to say Lab 6 for me, tutorial. And for this group, which is, my caps locked, Lab 6 tutorial, EG1230-5. Location, same as before. Don't forget, this is the final assignment, which is really your final test, right? You're going to need to be able to submit your folder as you're doing with Labs 5 and you're going to do on Lab 6. So browse and go to your location, your Z drive, place it in the course folder. Okay, and then what else do we need to do? Okay, properties. If you forget it here, then you have to do it for every single drawing. Any properties that you create, you're going to do it in every drawing separately. So when you do it at the project level, whenever you create a new drawing, it will assume these properties. So okay, properties. What do we need? What is the width? No. The width. The width of the ladder. 7. And what is the spacing? 1.2, both for vertical and line spacing, multi-wire line spacing. What else do we need to do? What do you notice in the drawings here? Look at these numbers. They are in hexagons, sheet number, and rung number. So how do we do that? Okay, we do it in at the project level. We have to go here, format, referencing. Okay, so we go setup. Then second from the bottom, it says sheet and number in hexagon. So we need to do that. And then we'll say okay, and that's it. These are the main settings we need to do at the project level. And then we'll say okay. So now I can see my project folder here. No drawings yet. Alas, now if you go to your Z drive, you should see it. So here's my project folder, and inside of it, there are these two files. These are project files. Do not delete them. Because if you delete them, you cannot open the project. You can still open the individual drawings, but you cannot open them as a project. All your project settings are in these files. Okay, so now I want to add a cover sheet. So we have a cover sheet that we have used in previous labs, so I can use it and put it inside this folder. There it is now. I have a cover sheet in the folder. Go ahead and do it. Yes? Okay, guys, now let's make sure that we add this to the project, because it's not added. I've just put the file there in the folder. So I'm going to right click, and then we'll say add drawing. Not new, because it's already, the file exists. So double click it. Yes, I want the settings. And then, of course, I don't see it yet. So refresh, and then click on the plus sign, and there it is. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. All right. So now I need to add which drawings? I need to add one drawing only, because I'm going to show you how to import the layers that we need to create. All of these layers, you don't need to create them on every individual drawing. You can create them on one drawing and then import them to the others. So I need to create this first one. I'm going to call it power supply. So right click on the project. Of course, I can double click on the cover sheet, close this extra or initial drawing that we have had to have in order to create a project. Of course, here I've seen a number of students who are using text to add text, but it's much simpler. You just make sure you are on paper space, move with your cursor on the text, double click, and then change to your name. Of course, this one will be Lab 6. And then give it a quick save. Right? Now let's go and do another drawing. New drawing, and we're going to call it power supply. Make sure here we're using a CAD template. So we'll go browse and ACAD electrical. Okay, we'll say, of course, you don't need to say OK properties, because the same properties will be imported from the project. Yes, Taha. Yeah, and you need the sheet number. Why? Because the sheet number is now part of the references of the ladder rungs. So we're going to say 1 here. Of course, you might have description as well. Here they have descriptions. You can add the descriptions as necessary, but I don't think they mention any additional descriptions. Okay, we'll say okay. Of course, if you want to check properties, you can. But we'll just say okay, and here it is. See, now we're going to customize this and then save it as a template so that we can use it for subsequent drawings. So I need to do what? Get rid of the nav cube. Turn off the grid. And if you have VP control or if you have UCS icon, also turn them off. And then delete layout 2. And then layout 1, set it to PDF printing. And size A4. And then say OK, close. What else I need to do? I need to adjust the viewport, leave a little bit of margin on all sides. Go back to model space, double click the wheel to maximize the title block. And then again, nav cube off. What else? One more thing, I need to create a layer called viewport. Viewport. Create a layer called a viewport. Then go back to paper space again, select the viewport, move it to viewport. Halas, now it's moved to viewport. And then escape to go back to layer 0. And then go and turn off viewport. That's it. Now everything is prepared for a template. I have not yet added the other layers. The other layers are specific to Lab 6, so you might not want them to be part of your template. So what we need to do now is save it as a drawing. That's the first step. Second step, I'm going to say File. And by the way, now, of course, you should be able to refresh and see your added drawing in the project. And we should say also File, Save as Template, as a drawing template. And then go to the, you can even put it in the project folder for now. If you want to use it for other projects, you can import it or copy it to other projects later on. But for now, I'm going to put it in my project folder. So DWT. It's called power supply, but I'm just going to say my ACAD electrical template. That's what it is. And then we'll say save. And then we'll say okay. Notice what happened now. It changed to DWT. I don't want this DWT to work with. I just needed to copy the settings. So I'm going to close it and then open my DWG again. Okay? Now I can create the other drawings. Right click, new drawing, and I think the next drawing is PLC inputs, right? PLC inputs. Yes or not? Digital inputs. The PLC digital inputs. Use the same names as given. PLC digital inputs. Why do we insist on digital? Because there are analog inputs as well. These drawings are particularly for digital inputs. Again, for template, I don't want the raw ACAD electrical. I want my template that I've just created. So I'm going to say browse. Go to your project folder where that template is at. And here's my template. The project folder is here, actually. Here it is. And of course, this one will be sheet number 2. And then we'll say, okay. Do you want to apply the project's default settings? Yes. And you see now, everything is set. The printer is set. Layout 2 is not there. The viewport is there. The viewport frame is not showing. And also here, there's no nav cube. Just by using your own template. If you don't do that, you have to every time, nav cube, delete, this, all that. These steps you don't need to go through if you do a template. But make sure you always work with the template as a storage of settings. Do not do any drawings in a template. All right, so right click. I'm going to say new drawing, PLC digital outputs. And again, you don't need to say browse now because it will always default to the last template that has used. See, but you can see it still says my ACAD electrical template. So you don't have to do it again. Now, of course, this is sheet number 3. And then we'll say okay. Yes. Okay, now, of course, see PLC inputs and outputs don't show here still. So refresh, and there they are. Last one, BOM. New drawing. BOM sheet number 4. And then, of course, still the same, my template. And then we'll say, okay, very easy process once you do this. Okay, and then refresh one more time. These are all my drawings that I need for the project. Khalas? Any question? All right, so let's go to power supply and create. Yes, Lenore. Okay, so let's continue. Now we are going to start with the power supply and show you how to do custom components. First, let's create these layers. Again, these layers you will need for 3 drawings. There's one of 2 ways, one easy way and one long way. The easy way is to do it once and then import it to the others. The long way is to do it individually in every one, right? So let's go back and start doing layers for within power supply. So let's do this layer. And new, what's the first layer? Oh, sorry, so it's not, these are not layers. These are wire types. These are wire types. So we're gonna go schematic, and then in the edit wires, click on it, and here's where we go and do the, so the first one is red. First one is red, and we're gonna call it 240 volts AC, because this is a system where we're using AC power as well as DC power. And that custom component is a DC power supply. So it takes in AC power and gives out DC power. So color is red. And then we're going to call it 240, rename layer, 240 volts AC. And then go down here and color is red. Line weight is how much? 0.4. Very good, Taha. Very good. 0.4. So here we go. And then the next one. Next one is neutral, which is white, and thickness is also 0.4. So this is neutral. Or actually, it's going to be white, right? Color is white. Okay, color. And it should say white here, or you can choose the color directly. Of course, this shows black in my palette because I've chosen a white background. Your background is black, it's going to show you white. So say okay, and then line weight is also 0.4. And what's the third one? Orange, 240 volts DC. So this is orange. 24 volts DC. This is DC. 24 volts DC. And the color is number what? 40, right? 40. And line thickness, 0.2. Line thickness, 0.2. Okay, what's next? Blue for 0 volts DC. Blue. Zero volts DC. Okay, color is blue. Line weight 0.2. Okay, what's the next one? Brown, color 24. Output control. Brown. output control. Okay, color 24. And what about line weight? 0.2 also. 0.2. That's it. These are my layers. Now, I can go here. You have to save the file. Why? Because when I want to import, AutoCAD does not look at your current drawing. It looks at what is saved. So make sure you save, do a quick save, and then go to the digital inputs. By the way, make sure you're always working in the model tab. Because sometimes you work in the, you can also work in the layout tab. You have to be very careful whether you are in paper space or, yes. Okay, so let's go again, back again, and then go to model tab again, and then go to create or edit wire tabs. Of course, nothing is in this drawing. So now we're going to say import, and then I know I've already created them in Power Supply. So I'm going to double click, and there they are. You can choose all or one of them or a few of them, and just say okay, and there they are imported. Everything, including colors, including line weight. No need to go click on everyone. So say okay, and then save, quick save, and do the same thing for digital outputs. So again, go to the model tab, wire types, import, and now I can do from digital inputs or from Power Supply. It doesn't matter because they exist in both. And then okay, and then save. Do I need to do it for BOM? Not really, because we're not using it. We're not using any wires. Bill of Materials is just a schedule for all components. Okay? That's it. That's how you import. So let's go to model space, go to the, by the way, on your list, should you have the different order than this, you can always move files around. Just click and hold, and then move it. Like, for example, I can take cover sheet and put it at the bottom or anywhere in between. Where it, of course, doesn't belong there. But if any of these is incorrectly placed, you just click and hold and move it. Because let's go to Power Supply. Of course, it's not open in my case, so you can open it. And even these here, you can order them as well. These tabs, you can order them as well at the end. So you can put them in order. You can go this way, or you can use the project manager. And if you, in fact, if you want more room, you can close the project manager because you can move between these drawings now. So this will give you more room if you close it. Anytime you want it back, again, there it is. All right, so go to model space in Power Supply. Model space, and let's create the first, well, the main rung, right? How many rungs do I need? I need 5 of them. Look at the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, this is sheet 1. Now, okay, now this has happened a couple of times. What he said was when he creates the ladder, he doesn't see the numbers on the left. And that usually is because you have viewport as your current layer. If it is and it's turned off, if you turn it back on, you will see the numbers. But you should make sure your current layer is layer 0 before you put anything in. Your current layer should be layer 0. And now we can go schematic and add a ladder. How many rungs? 5 rungs. Okay, and we'll say okay, and then click. There they are. Sheet number in hexagon with sheet number and rung number. Okay, let's do the rungs for the inputs and outputs. 8, let's look at it. All right, how many do I have? Starting from 6 all the way to 15. So how many is that? 10. 10. Okay, so ladder, 10 rungs. Okay, click. There they are. Starting from 6 all the way to 15. And if you look carefully, the lowest rung is deleted. You don't need the lowest rung. It's just there for space. So if we go back here, we can go trim, wire trim. Don't use delete with the wires. Okay, trim, and then trim this lowest one. Okay, sometimes the snap to grid interferes. So you can turn it off temporarily or keep it off. Now you have a smooth motion of your mouse. And you can click, and that's it. Escape. And always save, save, save. Whenever you do something, save. All right, let's go and do, what's the outputs? Digital outputs, how many rungs? Well, starting from 16 all the way to 27. 12. 12 rungs. So, again, insert rungs and then 12. Okay. And there they are, starting from 16. And sheet number is 3, all the way to 27. And then save. Let's go back to power supply. Let's do now the custom component. And make sure that it is electrically smart. Okay, so in order to do custom component, we use symbol builder. So we click on this symbol builder. And to start with, don't worry about any of this. Just say, okay. Now, you can see the screen is becoming a little crowded, so I can turn off the project manager. And this palette, we're not going to need it for this symbol. So just turn it off. You should see only this toolbar. Okay, what are the dimensions of the rectangle for that? 2.5 by 1.3, isn't it? Yes? So we're going to go to the Home tab, and then do a rectangle. Click anywhere, as before, at 2.5, 1.3. You can double click and then zoom out a little bit so you can see it. 2.5 by 1.3. It's written here in the instructions. If you look at the instructions, you will see that right here. Here, 2.5 by 1.3 inches. Why inches? Because ACAD electrical is in imperial units, so it's in inches. It's not in millimeters as before. Okay, now we need to do what? We need some terminals. You can see we have 6 terminals that we need to add. These terminals. See, this is the part that we are doing. Yeah, we can use connectors. So let's go back here, then go to schematic, icon menu, and then you've got here terminal connectors. Here's a round connector. Again, if your snap to grid is interfering, of course, as soon as it lights up, that green snap, if you click, it will go there. And notice how it automatically broke up the line. It's a connector. But if your snaps is interfering, you can turn it off. Yeah, again, one more time. Icon menu. And then there is terminal connectors. Then you go around connector. And then you go here, click. And then you do it 2 more times. Round connector. Sometimes it will try to jump, so I can turn off my snaps as well. And then, or I can put it at the end. Well, see with this one, you can, yes, you can right click, shift right click, and you say mid between 2 points. So I want this point and this point. There it is. See, sometimes it doesn't break the line. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But I'll show you how to clean it up. Do what? Yes, you can do trim, but this one is actually a smart component. So it will not allow you to use it as boundaries. You can try it. Well, try it. No. I have the trim command from the home. Like if I go like this here and then choose this as a boundary, right? I'm thinking it's a boundary, same as we did before. And we say trim, and then you go inside. It doesn't do it. So I will show you how to do it. For you? What did you use circle or you used round connector? Yeah, the circle, yes, because it's not. I said when you use, like I did here, when you use the round connector, it's a smart component. There's more to it than just the circle. Okay, but with the circle, yes, it does. If you just use a circle, which is fine. Okay, so one last round connector, shift, right click, mid between 2 points, between this point and this point. All right, now. Huh? Yeah, okay, wait. I want to trim this, but now this is a smart component. So what do I do to trim it? Go home and make simple lines, like from here, go vertically up. And then take this, copy it from the bottom to the other quadrant. Now I can choose these 2 lines, and I'll say trim, and trim this guy. Khalas. And then take these 2, move them to the other connector. Move from here to there. And then again, choose these 2 lines and go trim. I can trim this one. And now, and delete these. By the way, some of you are using circle. It's fine. No problem. But this is where I am now with my smart component. Let's add the text. So what are we going to call this? DC power supply, 240 volts AC to 24 volts DC, 10 amp max. DC power supply. And you can see it's big. So I can say Control A and change this from 0.2 to 0.1. And enter. 240 volts AC slash 24 volts DC, meaning the input is 240 and the output is 24 volts DC, 10 amp max. Of course, I can also center them, center all these. Okay, and then do the same thing. And we'll say 240 volts VAC input. And change it to 0.1. Adjust. Move it a little bit. And you can do copy and paste. And this is like working in your normal CAD. And then we're going to call this, double click. This is what? 24 volts DC output. So in other words, these 2 terminals is where we connect the 240 volts AC, and this is where we get the 24 volts DC output. Okay, let's put some connectors in now. Connectors have to be smart in order for it to work automatically. So here, if you go down, it says wire connection, and the default is left or none. meaning the wire has to come from the left side. We'll leave that. And then here at the top right, second from right, it says insert wire connector. Click it and then go to, make sure the quadrants is turned on, your snaps. Make sure that your quadrant snaps are turned on. And then we'll go to the quadrant and place it there. And then escape. I don't have any other left. I don't know why sometimes it just changes the window size by itself. Huh? Or we'll do the other ones. So now I'm going to, there's a drop down menu here. If I click on the white space, a drop down menu comes out. And I want to do the next one is right or none. Right side or none. So here is right or none. And then click again on this insert wire connector command. So there it is. And then escape again. It's waiting for you to do more. You can do more at once. And then escape. I'm done with right or none. Now I want to do bottom or none. Bottom or none. So down, again, down menu. And then bottom or none. Click it. And then click on connector or connection. And then from the bottom quadrant. And now I can do the other one without having to go escape because it's also at the bottom. And then I'm done. Escape. So it says terminal 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Ma, questions? Ulum. Huh? Okay. All right. Now, this custom component is still not smart. Okay? How do we make it smart? I need to enter at least a few of these tags. So I can, let's say, for example, the top 3, highlight them, and then click and hold and drag in somewhere. For tag, I can put already, I can say power supply. PS or PW. I can enter something that, remember when you added components before, you always find a starting suggestion like LT for lights, right? And you've got CR for control relay and so on. This is where you put them. Halas, now, actually I can put the tag, this tag, I can put it right here. He didn't have a tag here, but that's okay. You don't need a tag, but I put it here. But you need if you don't need a tag, if you don't want a tag to show, you have to choose a few of these. Otherwise, your component will not be smart, as I told you. If you don't want a tag to appear, you can delete this stuff. I don't want the value here. I can delete it. If I don't want it to show, I can delete it. Still, the tag or the tag will be there without showing any name. Okay, now I'm done. I need to say close block editor. Close block editor. Now, here, if I want to do a search, a library search, drop down menu and go to power supply. Power supplies. So you need to pay attention because if you don't do this correctly, especially if you don't give it where you want this component to be picked up from, you're going to see, oh, it's not coming. It might be somewhere else, off screen. So first of all, we need to tell it this is a power supply. Secondly, we need to tell it to place, because it will create a drawing file and an image file for your component. So you can use it as many times as you want. So we're going to go, of course, it assumes a default directory. I want to put it in my project folder. Please pay attention because you're going to need to do this for assignment 2, and you're going to need to do it for the final assignment as well. your components, I want to see them for marking purposes. So browse and go to your Z drive and go to the project folder. Okay, so lab 6. And where's my project folder? It's right here for this group. And we'll say okay. Now I need to do the same thing for the image file. This is for the image file. You can see it here, image. I don't need to, again, browse and so on. I can click here, Control A, and then Control C for copy, and then go to the next window, Control A and Control V to paste. So then again, the image, and see now the symbol name. It will suggest a name for you, but you can say my power supply. My power supply. Now, this is where it gets into, no, this one should be power supplies as well. Okay, it changes the name for you. MPWPS, that's what you put in at the end. You can leave it as default. It's just something that indicates what this is. Now, here is where it comes interesting. This pick point. Before you finish this window, click on this, and I suggest you pick it up from either the center or the left connector. Why? Because usually that's where we want to put it on the rung. So I'll click on this. It has put in some values here, and I will say okay. Do you want to insert the symbol after closing the block editor? And I will say yes. And there it is. It's already in my, attached to my mouse icon. So place it. Of course, again, my snaps are coming. If I don't want them to be interfering, I can turn off temporarily. And then place it. And notice how it will break the line automatically. There. And notice it has opened this window, meaning that it is smart. So I can give it a name or can leave this blank and just say okay. Notice if I right click, this window, this menu appears, meaning it's electrically smart. So if I say delete, look at what happens. It went back, rejoined the wire. Well, suppose now I want to insert it. Well, I go to schematic, icon menu, and then go browse this time. Of course, there's a way to put it in the library, but for now, let's keep it simple. So browse and go to the project folder. So you can see this is my component right here. Double click, there it is again, in the same pick point. And then place it. And then if you don't want any tag, just take out the tag and just say, okay, leave it like it is. Khalas. Now, always save, save, save. When you do something, save. Trim. I don't need this rung. And what else? The fifth one, we don't need that. And then what else? I need a wire this way and start placing components as before. What's new? Source and destination. So I'm going to show you that as well. These components are the same as before, but I need to do these sources, and these are called destinations. Look at how the arrows are. Sources, the arrows are pointing out. Destinations, the sources are, the arrows are pointing into the wires. These are sources, this is like electrical connections. We're saying this is acting as a source to the power rails, and will act as a source to the other power rails as well. Because this control system uses 24 volts DC. but the main source is 240 volts AC. Abu Khalid. Okay, I'll come and take a look at what you have. All right, so now let's do this this component, or maybe we'll just put a few components because I need to differentiate between the positive side and the negative side. Okay, so let's put this one, DS1. DS1. Icon menu. And breakers, fuses, disconnects, single phase. This one, fused disconnect. And then place it here. Okay, what do you? Yeah, we're going to do it now. Just wait. You have to put the symbol first. Before you can look it up. So it's DS1. The tag is DS1, and it's power supply protection. So this one should be DS1, and this is power supply protection. Okay, now I need to do lookup. Okay, what is the part number? Well, the part number is at the end in the list, this list. Unfortunately, this one is not text-based, so we have to. You cannot copy and paste. So it's 015410, made by Moiler. Zero 15410. There it is. Double click it. And then we'll say OK. And there it is. Of course, again, if you want to move the text to show it the same as in the lab instructions, there it is. Again, save, save, save. Just one click away. What else? I have another one. See, now I can do it from scratch, or I can copy it. So I don't have to do a lookup again. So I can go right click, copy component at the bottom, and then put it right here. I can hold the shift key so that it is exactly below it, vertically. And this is called DS2? DS2. And what is it called? What is the description? Panel protection or what? Panel protection. Panel protection. I see now the part number or catalog is already inserted. We'll just say OK. All right, what do I need? I need a switch now. Switch. Yeah, so miscellaneous switches. And this is it. And there's the switch. There's no lookup for this. What is the tag number? What's the tag? PLS1. PLS1. Panel light switch. Switch. There is no lookup. If you go to the bill of materials, you will not find PLS1. By the way, this is alphabetically sorted. So there is no PLS1. See, there's PLC and there's PRS. Halas. So if it's not here, you don't have to do a lookup. Okay, we'll just say, okay, now let's do the light. Let's do the light. We'll go to miscellaneous. And there it is, enclosure light. And place it. Okay, what is the tag number? LT1 panel light. LT1 for tag LT1, and panel light, and okay. One last item is the receptacle. Click, and miscellaneous, receptacles, and then single, this one, and then place it. Is there a tag number? No tag. Oh, there is. Recept 1. Tag. No description. It says recept, capitals, recept 1. RECPT. RECPT. And then we'll say OK. Of course, now I have a line from, I need my snaps. You can work without them even, but here I have one line connected between these two. And then trim with a trimmer, not with delete. There it is. And then save. Let's do now the main power supply. What is the size of the rectangle? Huh? 1.3 by 0.7? Rectangle of the small one. So we'll say 1.7, comma, 0.5. Enter. Okay, then what I need two connectors. Two connectors. So we'll go schematic, icon menu, and we'll go connectors, round connector. I want to be here somewhere. I need my snaps. I can put a line in the middle here as a guide. Or I can use the snap to middle and then see AutoCAD gives me a reference automatically. You don't have to be very specific about this. But now let's do the other one. Round from this side and go to the left. And that's good. That's good. Now let's make two wires. Let's make two wires coming down vertically from these connectors. Wire, lower quadrant, go down. Connected to the other one, and then trim. That's it. Now, let's change this to what? This is 240 volts AC, the wire type, 240 volts AC, red. We'll say OK. And then the other one also, right click, change wire type, neutral. That's it. Now let's do the source. Let's put source arrow right here. Source arrow. And then come to the end of the line and click. Code. We're going to say code 1. And then 240 volts AC. Right? That's what we have right here. And then we'll say, OK. That is the source. And just say, OK, I want to do now the destination. It gives you a chance to also specify the destination. And look now what happens when I do the destination. Destination is the top of this line. Click. And yes, see now, they automatically assume the same color. The question marks. Okay, don't fuss about them. I mean, right here, always try to follow the instructions. It says number 1 here. All right, but any extra question marks, you can get rid of them. Let's do the same thing. Well, obviously, I still have this one to be 240 volts AC. What else do I have? And 240 volts AC. Also this stuff. And this one. Enter. And the other ones are neutral. Yeah, so let's do now the next arrow. right click, convert, and then this is the neutral. Yeah, let's see now. Source arrow. Here. Go to neutral. Neutral. And we'll say okay. Okay. And then this guy. Yes. There it is. Now again, double click and you can delete these question marks if we have no use for them. Yeah, because that's what we have to do now the wire numbers. We have to do the wire numbers. So if I do wire numbers, and it has to be line reference. Of course, I can do it drawing wide or I can do it project wide. So when you finish the other wiring the drawings for inputs and outputs, you can do it project wide. But for now, even if I do project wide now, there's nothing else. So I can go project wide and then say, okay, do all. That's how it happens. Same as similar to the bill of materials. You say, okay, quick save, yes. There. Here are your numbers now. Okay, you might see some variations. This 1 and 1A instead of 2. Don't worry about that. It's okay. The idea here is how to build custom components, make them electrically smart, how to do sources and destinations. These are the only new items. Everything else you have done before. Okay? Thank you. So I'll see if anyone has any issues. Okay, guys. As far as destinations and sources. So now we have to do the same thing for the 24 volts DC. Establish sources here. And then when we go to the other drawings, we have to do destinations here, but the destinations are 24 volts DC. So you have to say destination arrow, and you have to go project wide, and then choose from a list, as I showed in the other tutorial.